Hey everybody, Cheryl here. I just wanted to post a video about my journey in the hair industry. For those of you who want to know how I feel qualified to come and give you tips on communications and so on and so forth. So my journey started when I was 9 years old with a Barbie head I got for Christmas. And that's what I did for the next several years. Anytime I could braid anybody's hair, do anything, that's what I wanted to do. So then graduated from high school, and I was ready to go to college, and I decided no. I had a passion for hair. That's what I wanted to do. So I changed gears, much to my father's dismay. Now, my parents are gone now, but my father at the time, he was an alcoholic, and he had an 8th grade education, and he had much bigger hopes for his daughter than struggles. And so he was so mad he didn't speak to me for 3 weeks. So I went anyway. I did it anyway, and I pursued it with a passion. I graduated, thought I was going to set the world of hair on fire, only to find out that that didn't go as planned. I went to work in a small town in a small salon full of seasoned hairdressers who did a lot of shampoo and sets and a lot of highlights. And I just couldn't hang. I suck at shampoo and sets. Okay, so I pursued another option. I went several miles down the road to a franchise salon owned by an individual who owned 3 other franchise salons at the time. And I ended up working for her for 11 years because she believed in me, because she educated me, and she developed me. And then it was time, and while I worked there, a lot of experiences, some you'll hear throughout my videos. I got married, I had a child, and at this point he's 5 and it's time for him to start school. The problem with him starting school was where we lived at the time, he was going to have to ride a bus every morning and every night, an hour each day with older children. As a child, I had been molested by a large boy on the back of the bus. That wasn't going to happen to my son. So I made the necessary changes, and I changed gears, came back to the smaller town, and got a job in a salon, and so he could go to school there. So life changed, and at the same time, everything I'd known for 11 years, all my friends, all my customers, were now 50 miles down the road. What was I going to do? How was I going to make money? And to compound things, I'm one of those that looks ahead, and at that time, the way we made money was permanent waving. Girl, I could perm some waves like nobody's business. Big rollers, small rollers, tight curls. I won awards for doing perms. And I was so excited, but I was so stinking scared, and I could see the industry was changing. I could look at a Vogue and know that the trends overseas were already going to smoother and straighter, and I had no idea how I was going to make money. And I was terrified of hair color. Absolutely mortified of hair color. So I began to pour my knowledge into learning color, because prior to that I would clean the commode before I would color someone's hair every day of the week. I could highlight it. I had that down pat. I was terrified. So I came to work in a salon, and after a few months there, she had purchased an intro of some color, and we had an educator come in, and I'm all ears. I'm completely enthralled. And so I began to look and listen, and the last question he asked was, "Are there any other questions?" And I said, "Yes, I want your job." Eventually I got it. Not just his job, but a job in education. And while I was on the education journey, my ex-husband came home one day and he said, "So-and-so has a building for rent. Let's open a salon." And so I opened a salon. And after about 1.5 years of that, life changed again, and I ended up divorcing him. I kept my salon, divorced the man. Some of us already know that story. But at any rate, so then life changed one more time. A friend had a building to sell, so I bought the building. I expanded my salon, had a successful salon for 10 years. In that 10 years, I raised my son mostly by myself. I helped my mother, took care of her. Ultimately, before I sold that building, she passed away. I still had my father to deal with. They had divorced in the meantime. Life just continues to happen. So I had all the struggles that every single one of you do. And I'm still, at this point, in education. My son decides to go off to college. He goes, and then somebody walks in one day and says, "Cheryl, would you sell this building?" And I said, "Girl, you write a check and I will go home." She wrote a check and I went home. And then I went to booth rent. And so then I worked in a salon for about a year, and I decided it wasn't a fit for me. Doesn't matter why, it just wasn't a fit for me. And I went to a little bit larger salon with an amazing staff, had a fabulous time there. And then I decided, okay, I need health insurance, I need benefits. Does any of this journey sound familiar, or pieces, all pieces of it, at least at some point, sound familiar to any of you? And so I went back into the corporate salon world. Turned out to be a huge mistake and an amazing learning lesson all at the same time. I only lasted there 7 months. Not a corporation I'm going to talk about. I don't get into bashing. It just didn't work. But in that amount of time, I worked in Memphis, Tennessee, and I learned so much about diversity and our world. And it was just, all in all, it was an amazing experience. So then I came back to where I am now, back to the small town with the booth rent, still in education. And throughout all of this, I grew. And I've had mentors in education. And during this journey, I have won Educator of the Year. I have mentored other educators. I've worked with a ton of salon stylists, traveled all over the country, and had an opportunity to meet some amazing people, have fabulous stories, and learn that life happens. So when I'm out in the education field, that's one of the things I hear, is that we, in a world of complete connectivity, for some reason, face to face, we're not connected and we don't communicate as well as we could to make our life behind the chair so much easier, and for us to make more Benjamins at the end of the day, because that's my favorite, is collecting dead presidents, and Benjamin is my favorite. So when you watch my videos and I'm giving you tips about working in the salon and with your coworkers and so on and so forth, I wanted you to know my journey and who I am. And as you can see, that's just a tad bit small portion of who I am, because who I am is you. It's you. It's the corporate salon worker. It's the salon owner. It's the booth renter. It's the shampoo girl. It's the one who fell on her face. The one somebody picked back up. Jeez. Crying wasn't supposed to be part of this. It's an amazing journey. But I thought it was very important that you know who I am, why I still stand behind the chair 4 and 5 days a week, and why I love education and sharing what has been shared with me with so much passion. I hope this helps to identify who you listen to, and I hope you know who you are is who we all are. Have a great day.